My name is Stuart Campbell. I'm an attorney at a nonprofit. I represent tenants in eviction court for free here in Dallas County. And I listen to Progress Texas because it is a beacon of light. I think progressives have a chance here. I think progressives need to focus on economic struggles and the differences between the billionaire class and the working class. As long as we do that, both as Democrats and progressives, we will win this state. We will win this country. I like Progress Texas because they speak truth to power, first and foremost, and they are not afraid to hold both Republicans and Democrats accountable.
It's Thursday, January 15th, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch. Rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. We're off to a nice positive start for a change this morning. Reporting from the Texas Tribune and Renzo Downey on fundraising here as the all-important 2026 midterm election year gets underway. A great many donors out there, some big but mostly small donors, are believing in Texas Democrats. Data from 2025 shows that the Texas House Democratic Caucus, or HDC, raised a record $2.2 million last year, apparently mostly inspired by last summer's Democratic quorum break. Multiple thousands of small dollar donations from all 50 states alongside major contributions from the likes of U.S. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Beto O'Rourke will allow Texas's minority party to gear up for the 2027 Texas legislative session by hiring staff and running media campaigns. HDC Chair and frequent Progress Texas guest State Rep Gene Wu, as you well know, led that quorum break last summer in an effort to galvanize the rest of the country against Trump-demanded and GOP-delivered redistricting. Rep Wu says, quote, "This gives us a fighting chance against the well-funded juggernaut that is the Republicans who are in power. They have unlimited amounts of money being poured down their throats from the Koch brothers and from Wilkes and Dunn and everybody else. A lot of times we're just struggling to keep up with it. The people who contributed to us, the organizations, the individuals, the people who sent in $1, they're the ones who made it happen. Their thank you card that they should get is this November, watching Democrats from around the country, having been fully woken up, go to the ballot box and take our country back," unquote, and agreed. There's also new polling of interest to Texas Democrats to talk about this morning. A new Emerson College polling Nexstar Media poll of the 2026 elections in Texas finds Austin State Rep James Tallarico leading the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate with 47%, followed by Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Dallas at 38% with 15% undecided. Spencer Kimball, executive director of Emerson College Polling, says, quote, "Tallarico has built momentum among Hispanic and white voters, 59 and 57% respectively, while an 80% majority of black Democratic primary voters support Crockett. Men break for Tallarico 52% to 30%, while women are about evenly split between the two Democrats, 44% for Tallarico, 43% for Crockett," unquote. The Republican side of this polling shows at present a virtual tie between Senator John Cornyn and Attorney General Ken Paxton, 27 and 26% respectively. Spoiler hopeful Congressman Wesley Hunt trails at 16% and a whopping 29%, almost a third of likely Republican primary voters say they have not yet made up their minds. Mr. Kimball sees what we all see, that the Republican primary for Senate appears very likely headed to a runoff between Paxton and Cornyn. There's a link to the deeper data of this new Emerson College Texas primary poll in the show notes. Both of the Democratic candidates for Senate have made news this week. Congresswoman Crockett executed a master class in destroying right-wing conspiracy theories, undergirding Donald Trump's mass pardoning of January 6th rioters yesterday. That is quite a sight to behold. And Rep Tallarico appeared on another big podcast this week. I'm a big fan of the Ezra Klein Show from the New York Times, though I certainly don't always agree with everything Ezra says. He's a much less meat-headed alternative to Joe Rogan if you're looking for one. Anyway, Rep Tallarico appeared on the Ezra Klein Show a few days ago, and links to both that and Jasmine Crockett's work on January 6th can be found in this morning's show notes. Lots of talk about Tarrant County lately, and for good reason. Drew Shaw at the Fort Worth Report, he's becoming a go-to lately around here. Shaw writes that national attention has turned to the Texas Senate special election runoff in Tarrant County coming up in just a few days on January 31st. As we know, Democrat Taylor Ramett and Republican Lee Wamsgans squaring off for a seat that's widely considered a foreshadowing of November's midterm election trends. Ramett, again, as you know, is a Fort Worth area union leader who came this close to win in this seat outright back last fall with 47.6% of the vote. And Wamsgans is a Southlake Patriot Mobile executive and longtime North Texas MAGA crusader whose party split its vote in the first round. A full third of Republicans opted for former Southlake Mayor John Huffman over Wamsgans back in November. GOP funders have poured millions of dollars into this race, which didn't work really. Shaw writes that statistically, Rumette holds an advantage in this runoff based on his 12-point lead in the initial contest, though the outcome is going to depend heavily on voter mobilization during this rare January election. And analysts suggest that the result will serve as a bellwether for the changing political climate in Tarrant County, one of the nation's largest red-leaning counties. Democrats are hopeful that urbanization and fast growth in Tarrant, combined with national economic and immigration concerns, will provide a platform for flipping this seat, which has been in the grip of the GOP for 34 years. Rumette's platform has been centered on issues of broad impact, including affordable housing and workers' rights, while Wamsgans has been doing what Wamsgans has been doing for decades, which is laying out the usual culture war crap in an effort to fire up Tarrant County MAGA types. We got an update from Taylor Rumette on his campaign a few days ago, and that talk can be found a few clicks back on this podcast feed. With the ongoing and escalating ICE situation drawing attention to Minneapolis, it's our job to keep an eye on ICE's plans here in Texas, and one bit of that story is especially worrisome. Mara Richards Bim, First Justice and Advocacy Fellow at Royal Lane Baptist Church in Dallas, one of the most prominent progressive Baptist congregations in the Lone Star State, has been following the developing story, a large warehouse in North Texas apparently being developed into a massive holding center for human beings. In two recent updates, Bim says the Trump administration is working on 7 large warehouses nationwide to be converted into detention spaces capable of collectively holding 80,000 people at a time. And one of those proposed sites is in Hutchins, Texas, which is just southeast of Dallas. It appears to have space to pack in approximately 9,500 people, which is not only bigger than the town of Hutchins itself, it's bigger than the capacity of America's largest single-site jail. Clergy and local observers are noting that recent furniture deliveries and personnel training at the Dallas ICE field office seem to align with purported plans to process deportations with Amazon Prime efficiency. These facilities are designed and built for cargo, not for people. They lack the plumbing and sanitation infrastructure necessary for human habitation. Civil rights advocates and local leaders, including Hutchins Mayor Mario Vasquez, have expressed grave concerns over the potential for inhumane conditions, as well as the potential strain of all of this on this small Texas town. Local resistance is mounting both in Hutchins and in the small community of Social Circle, Georgia, the site of another such facility and situations. Mayor Vasquez has come out publicly in opposition to this Trump ICE human warehousing project. Links to both of these reports from Mara Richards Bim, who's doing great work, can be found in the show notes. Early voting in the March primary starts on February 17th. See the show notes for a Texas 2026 March primary ballot form from the Texas Tribune that you can use right now with your home address to see who will be on the ballot of the primary in which you choose to vote. Super handy and something you should start looking at right now if you haven't yet. Of course, everything you need to know about voting, including making sure that your registration is in order. That is very important at this point. All that can be found at govotexas.org. Our mission at Progress Texas is to improve and save Texans' lives by acting on our shared bold progressive values, and that starts with countering the billionaire and corporate-funded disinformation machine. While we enjoy the support of hundreds of partners, chances are that you, dear listener, may not have yet joined the team. If you're a regular, let's get you on board right now. Thanks to monthly supporters Mary Sisson, William Billieu, and Jessica Graves. We appreciate all three of you very, very much. Join them and the team at progresstexas.org. Meanwhile, help us fund Spanish media in Texas. Progress Texas is expanding our top-rated podcast network to include Spanish-speaking pod content to increase the reach of our progressive messages across Texas daily. See the link in the show notes to make your tax-deductible donation towards Spanish media at Progress Texas today. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Thursday, January 15th, 2026. Links to all of these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is an independent, nonprofit, rapid response media organization. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you again here tomorrow morning.